Oh, hello. Today, Anna and I from Otago Polytech are going to be running you guys through some personal safeties and some abseil lines. Before we get started, let's put on our safety gear and get all the gear that we need. Let's go do this.
Oh, hello. I'm just getting all of the gear ready that we need to put together a personal safety and a commercial abseil. So to start out with, we're going to need 2 ropes, 1 static and 1 dynamic. And then we're also going to need a couple of slings or cordelettes in order to set up our anchors. Now we need at least 3 anchors, so make sure that you have 3 slings that are long enough for your anchors. Now longer slings are better, as you can always shorten a sling, but you can never make it longer. Now we also need, for our anchors, either 10 snap planks, or we can substitute them for 5 screw gates. If you don't have screw gates, just use 2 snap planks. So we need 10 snap planks plus 1 extra snap plank for your commercial abseil. And then you also need 2 screw gates for your abseil, and then you also need a personal screw gate with an ATC and a cordelette. Okay, Charles, let's go!
Righto, now we've got all our gear, it's time to find some anchors to set up our personal safety so we can create our abseil. When we get to a point such as this, where there's a cliff, we want to make sure that we're sticking as far away from the edge as possible until we've got our safety line. Now let's go find some anchors. Come over here, I've found some very good trees to use as some anchors. Okay, so when we're looking for anchors, we're looking for 4 things. We're looking to see that the tree is alive, we're looking to see that it's large. If it's not large, we're using lots. And then lastly, we want our anchor to be low. So once we've found a suitable tree, such as this, it's alive, it's large, and it's got a nice low point for us to place our sling. So we grab our first sling, and we wrap it around the tree, making sure it's as low as possible, and then place our snap link carabiner on the sling. Now because we're using snap links and not screw gates, we want to be using 2 of these just to ensure our safety. So we grab another snap link and we ensure that it's facing the opposite way to the first carabiner. So the gates are not facing the same way, but facing a different way. Like that, like so. Perfect. That is our first tree anchor. So now we've set up our 3 anchors. We've got our 1 here, 1 over here, and another one which is right next to our first one. Now it's time to use these anchors to set up our personal safety.
Alright, now that we have our anchors nice and set up, we're going to start setting up our personal safety. So to start off with, we're going to take our dynamic rope and we're going to put an 8 on a bight at the end of it. So make sure that your 8 on the bight is nice and tight, and make sure that the bottom loop is not too big and that you have a shocker left in the end. So this is a little bit big, so I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. Perfect. Once you've got your bight on the 8, you're going to measure out where you will need it. So as far down as you're possibly going to go with your personal safety, you're just going to swing it down and see where it is. Right? And then you're going to move along your rope and put it back to your farthest away anchor. Okay. Once you're at your first anchor, you're going to measure out quite a bit of rope. So about 2 meters, depending on where your other anchor is, because you're going to have to connect your first anchor with your second anchor. And then you're going to make a clove hitch. So remember your clove hitch. So you grab it on opposite sides, over, and then you slide them together. And then you need to put them into your anchor. And set the clove hitch. Now that we've set up our first anchor, we're going to move on to putting our personal safety onto the rope. So we're going to take a screw gate carabiner, we're going to hook it into our loop, we're going to put the end that we threw down towards the cliff, and we're going to put it into our screwy carabiner and screw it nice and tight. Okay. You're going to take a cord length, and you're going to take the rope that you're hooked onto as far to the anchor as you can go, and you're going to put a clem heist onto the rope. So make sure you wrap around at least 3 times. More is always better. And then go through the loop at the end. There's our perfect clem heist. 1, 2, 3, 4 loops, and wrap it around and through. And then you're going to put the end through your carabiner and make sure you screw it nice and tight. As we always need to use more than one anchor, we're going to make a loop with an overhand in our safety line so that the loop can loop back to the second anchor. And now the only thing we have to do is to make sure that our 2 anchors are nice and equalized. So we can move the rope through a little bit at a time until they're both equalized and the weight is on there. Now with this anchor, make sure that this angle is the 90 degrees. Now that we're finished with the personally safety setup, make sure you double check everything, and then you can use your clem heist to go back and forth and can slowly go towards the cliff and test out if it's nice and works. With your personal safety, you should always slide your clem heist so that you're as close to the anchor as you can be for where you are. And if you want to move further towards the edge, you slide it along and move further towards the edge.
Now that we've got our personal safety all set up, you're ready to live life on the edge. But the whole point of this is so we can safely set up our abseil line and abseil someone down. So what we have to do now is set up our abseil line. So what we want to do is we want to grab our static rope that we prepared earlier and go to our first anchor. We're going to do this by using our original tree anchors and then adding one more anchor to make a 3-point anchor so our clients are nice and secure. At the first anchor, you want to make a clove hitch and attach it with 2 snap links onto your first tree anchor. Our first point of our 3-point anchor. Because we had quite a short tail, I've just put in 2 half hitches to stop the rope slipping and coming out of that anchor point. So now it's time to clip our abseil line into our second anchor. But before we do that, we need to set our focal point. Our focal point is a point where you're going to be abseiling your client down. We're going to take a loop, set it out, set our focal point, and then we're going to take it back and loop it into our second anchor. Again, making sure that your carabiner gates are facing the opposite way. Our second anchor. Now we have to attach our third and final point of our 3-point anchor. We do this by getting a clove hitch and attaching it into our carabiners like so. We now have a 3-point abseil anchor and we're ready to set up our abseil line.
At this point, you should have 2 loops at your focal length that you can move along to make them larger or smaller. You should make one loop a little bit longer than the other one, and then make a figure 8 knot to add redundancy to your system. Your 2 loops set up, you're going to put a screw gate in each of these loops. So one screw gate and another screw gate. Then you're going to take your static rope and you're going to put your abseil line on it. Use it as your abseil line. So you're going to take the upper loop of the 2 and you're going to measure out how far it is to go down to the ground. Take your static rope and throw down so that one end touches the ground, you're going to make an Italian hitch on one side, so across, and then fold them together, and you're going to hook it into your top carabiner. Screw it up, and tie this line off. You're going to hook the loop of this with one snap link into your loop to make sure that this does not get in the way. Just the end of your dynamic rope, and again you're going to put a figure 8 on a bight in it. Nice figure 8 on a bight. Okay, this is what your client is going to attach into as their safety line. Then you're going to go a little bit further up and put another Italian hitch in it. So together, and fold them over and screw it up and tie it off. Now there's only one thing left in order to finish your commercial abseil setup. You're going to take a screw gate and put it in the end that you're going to be using as your safety line, hook it in, and then you're going to put a figure 8 descending device onto the static abseil line, making sure that you grab a bight, put it over from the top through, and you're going to put it around the little one and make sure that this is on top, and this device is set up for a right-handed person as the line that goes down comes out on the right shoulder side. And then put a screw gate in it. Now we're almost ready for our client to abseil down. One more thing, double check everything. I can untie the safety line and make sure, one more time, that he's nice and safe. Now, when you're ready, please lean into the rope and feed through the rope. Now my goal is not to abseil him off. Instead, my goal is for him to abseil off and for me to make him feel nice and safe by having him in case he falls. Have this nice and loose and just let it slide through unless something happens, and then you can always break.
Bottom, it's time to unclip your carabiners and send them back up so your friend can have a go at abseiling. So we're going to do this by simply unscrewing this and then sending them back up.
Make sure that they clip the carabiners together so you can pull them back up. Now all you have to do to reset up your abseil line is put the figure 8 onto your static line and pull up the dynamic rope, make another Italian hitch and put it in instead of your first Italian hitch.